It is raining outside today. No, of course it is not. I'm reading a text, and but pointing out the fact that it isn't raining outside today is useful. It is raining outside today, which it is not. The flowers are growing, which they aren't, and the reason that they aren't is because it isn't spring. It's the beginning of winter, and in fact the leaves are falling. So one would say, if one were referring to today, I guess it is cold outside today. The leaves are falling, or the leaves continue to fall. This one reminds me of that Matsuo Basho poem. In the twilight rain, these brilliant-hued hibiscus a lovely sunset. At least that's what I recall of the poem. That's perhaps wrong, incorrect. It strikes me that that poem could almost equally have been formulated in the morning rain. These brilliant-hued hibiscus, a lovely sunrise. The difference being that the slight hint of melancholy in the metaphorical value of sunset as a kind of ending and closure, and the suggestion of at least subtle suggestion of joy and beginning in sunrise. And it does seem to me that that in a certain sense that there almost may be an irony that grows out of the distinction, or the difference between the brilliant hued hibiscus that represent the colors of the sky, right, at either sunset or sunrise, and the sense of the impending, onset of night, and it seems to me that torque, which is not quite ironic, but that is inspired, perhaps, by that difference, and it's very subtle, right? It's very elegantly subtle, but the edge of that difference provides a value in that poem that wouldn't be there if the pure optimism and hope of the sunrise were made in this comparison with the brilliant, colorful beauty of the hibiscus flowers. Now, presumably, and I'd have to do the research and see when hibiscus flowers actually do blossom, but presumably there's a reference to a season in the basho poem, just like there's a reference to a season in this one. And what this poem, it is raining outside, and as Laurie inspired me to remark, today, of course it isn't. But it's interesting too, because her response to the statement, is it, clarifies just the kind of statement this is, right? This is a factual statement. And if I had said, Laurie, if I had said in the twilight rain, would you have said, is it? Yeah. Right, even if it was twilight. I mean, obviously this is morning now, so you probably wouldn't be confused about that. But even if it was twilight, you wouldn't have questioned it, because the poetry of it would have stood out in the sense of image, right? And the lack of statement. Perhaps. So there's that. So the statement here, in order to transform this into, at least what the aesthetic of haiku understands to be its poetics, we'd have to transform it, into an image. So instead of stating it is raining outside, and how do we do that? Well, an image is a way that relates to the senses. So we'd think of a sense and we'd respond to it. So we can respond to it visually. Streaks on the window is an image of falling rain, perhaps, or rain droplets on the window is a visual image. There's a sound of rain, the pitter-patter of rain against the glass. And then, there are other elements of rain, and too, rain has a smell, and it changes the smell of the environment. So just as Homer says that we can't describe, perhaps the beauty of Helen, but we can describe the appearance of individuals who see her and the awe that she inspires in the changes in her. I mean, the changes in their facial expressions and comportment. We can describe the beauty of the rain by describing the way that other aspects of our organic and inorganic world, are changed and transformed by the rain. And I think that in the basho, right, there's an implicit comparison, just like we argued with that exists somewhere we pointed out, or was it Hedgehog? I think it was Hedgehog who pointed out that there's a implicit like in Ezra Pound's poem about the wet and hungry masses, in which the like, the simile, lies between, right, the faces that he perceives in the crowd, and either a real or an imaginary, instance in the mind, an image in the mind of a cherry tree, or perhaps plum tree in blossom in the rain, and that's another rain poem, isn't it? And somewhat different from the basho, in the sense that you have this intrusion of modernism and technology, particularly as it's designated in the title of that fascist poet, whatever his name might be, his poem, in a station at the metro, or is it at a station in the metro? I think it's in a station at the metro, but the prepositions may be wrong. Just like my memory of the basho poem is most likely somewhat off, and I didn't count out the if it even does have a 5 metric. I certainly didn't count it out when I remembered it and recalled it as in the twilight rain, these brilliant hued hibiscus, and then maybe some sort of like an Emily Dickinson style dash, or a contract in phi through theta style ellipsis, and then the final line, a beautiful sunset. And I wonder if it is beautiful. Now I'm curious if I'm misremembering it somehow. Beautiful is almost not precise enough. Perhaps a more concrete word there would contribute to the value of the translation and to the poem. But at any case, whatever we do with the raining outside, we're inside. So I like the idea of a window. This pitter-patter, rain falling in pitter-patter, or something like that, against the glass. This pitter-patter against the glass. And I guess we can leave the today. Or how about pitter-patter against the glass, and droplets left behind. The scent well, I don't know if we can really do that. The scent of, can we smell flowers growing in the rain? Maybe. If not, we can certainly recognize flowers that are here today that weren't here yesterday. And one could say, whatever the color of these flowers one wants them to be. And let's not put them on a wet black bough. Let's put them, perhaps somewhere in the sky. Or swaying, maybe, on a stem. And find some figure that represents, silk dancers, red silk dancers against the clouds. That is a little difficult. Like, it almost requires too much work to be a haiku, but I like it. Pitter-patter against the glass. And through the droplets left behind, as if we were viewing these flowers through the droplets of water on the pane of glass. Pitter-patter on the rain outside, or if you don't like pitter-patter, substitute any automatopoeic term. And through the droplets left against the glass, and we're certainly like breaking the meter, so we'd have to reduce it, right? And through the droplets, let's just say, and through the droplets left behind, red silk dancers within the clouds. Because you're seeing these red flowers, right, bobbing on their stems, and you're looking at the dark clouds behind them. Or maybe they're not dark, maybe they're pure white. And it seems to me that that captures a lot of what's going on in this poem, as it's written as a statement, but that significantly does transform it and moves it toward the aesthetics of haiku. It certainly makes it more haiku than the Pound poem, because we don't have this intrusion of, that's his name, Pound, the fascist. Because we don't have this intrusion, right, of this modernist, environment and technical apparatus in it. It's, we have the window, which is, not entirely natural, but, I think we're comfortable enough with that. Maybe not. Maybe it's still not raw nature enough. It's perhaps not quite as raw nature as imagining frogs going sane mad. Or perhaps it's more so. It's certainly gentler and more caring in regard to one's relationship to one's world, and perhaps one's word, than the idea of designating and assigning sanity and madness to living beings. And I think, that, which is an interesting question, like the right and privilege to assign, sanity and madness to certain beings, that kind of speech act, the assumption of such an authority, or even the assumption of, consensus agreement on such a thing, it doesn't seem to me that that kind of performative naming and identification, which is almost a name calling, belongs to the discourse and aesthetics of haiku. But I could be wrong. I'd have to look at a few more examples.